You know that image, right? The one that's been stuck in our heads for centuries. A magnificent stone temple, completely swallowed by the jungle, a forgotten monument to a lost world. It's such a powerful idea, and we're going to dive right into it.
Yeah, you can just see it, can't you? These crumbling walls with giant tree roots wrapping all around them, reclaiming what was once this grand civilization. It's this epic story of nature's power and history's great mysteries. It's the legend we all know and love.
And that one question, it just flips the whole story on its head. It makes us look past that romantic legend and dig into a reality that is, honestly, way more fascinating. So, to get to the bottom of this, we have to start with the most famous lost temple of all time, Angkor Wat in Cambodia. I mean, it is the poster child for this entire idea. Okay, so this is pretty much where the whole myth got started, at least for the Western world. When this French explorer, Henri Mouhot, published his notes back in the 1860s, he painted this incredibly dramatic picture of rediscovery, of just stumbling upon this lost wonder. But, and this is a big but, the reality is Angkor Wat was never lost to the people who actually lived there, to the Cambodians. Sure, it might have faded from Western maps, but on the ground, totally different story. You had Portuguese and Spanish missionaries visiting as early as the 1500s. Japanese explorers were drawing detailed maps of the place in the 1600s. And, most importantly, a community of Buddhist monks never, ever left. They were maintaining the site the whole time. You have to understand, this wasn't some quiet little ruin in the jungle. It was a staggering feat of engineering, a massive statement from a powerful empire. Built by King Suryavarman II, it was the heart of the thriving Khmer Empire. And the scale, it's just mind-boggling. An estimated 300,000 people and 6,000 elephants built this thing, using more stone than all the Great Pyramids of Egypt combined. It was designed to be a literal replica of the god's home, Mount Meru, right here on Earth. So what happened? Why did this massive city start to fade from the world stage? Well, it wasn't some mysterious vanishing act. The empire basically faced a perfect storm of problems. Rival kingdoms attacking, major droughts from climate change, and lots of internal conflict. After the capital was sacked in 1431, the political center just moved. The city declined, yeah, but the temple itself, it lived on. All right, so if Angkor Wat wasn't the real deal, does a truly lost city even exist? Well, for that, let's pivot to a story that's less about debunking a myth and more about a 500-year-long hunt. We're talking about La Ciudad Blanca, the legendary White City. Ever since the conquistadors, there have been these whispers of a super wealthy, hidden city deep in the Mosquitia rainforest in Honduras. But this jungle, it is one of the most dangerous and impenetrable places on the entire planet. They literally call it the gates of hell. For hundreds of years, that's all it was, a story, a legend. But that desire to find it never went away. The modern quest to solve this ancient mystery, though, it was going to require a mix of old-school guts and some absolutely revolutionary new tech. And let me tell you, the search was absolutely brutal. The timeline is just a list of failures, from Cortez himself in the 1500s to 3 separate, very well-funded expeditions from the Smithsonian that came back with nothing. Then, in 1940, this explorer Theodore Morday caused a huge sensation claiming he'd found it. Turns out, he made the whole thing up, a complete fabrication. For decades, countless others went in looking for the city. They either came back with nothing, or they just never came back at all. The jungle held on to its secrets. That is, until now. The game changer wasn't some dusty old map or lone brave explorer. It was a piece of technology that could literally see through the jungle itself. The technology is called LiDAR, and to put it simply, you fly a plane over the jungle and it shoots billions of laser pulses down to the ground. By measuring how long it takes for those pulses to bounce back, it can create this incredibly detailed 3D map of the forest floor. It basically just makes the entire jungle canopy disappear. And this, well, this is the jaw-dropping result. On the left, that's what your eyes see from above, just an endless, unbroken sea of green. But on the right, that's the LiDAR data. Look at it. Plazas, pyramids, buildings, the clear, undeniable man-made geometry of a city that was hidden for 500 years. So back in 2012, an explorer named Steve Elkins and his team ran that scan. But, lasers can only show you the map. You still have to go there. In 2015, they had to go in on foot through that jungle full of venomous snakes, jaguars, and disease to actually prove what the lasers had revealed.
And what they found on the ground was just incredible. The ruins of a large, complex city. But the real treasure was at the base of a pyramid, a stash of almost 500 perfectly preserved stone sculptures. One of them was a ceremonial throne carved into the shape of a were-jaguar, which probably represented some kind of powerful shaman. This wasn't just a city, it was a completely unknown civilization. You see, a discovery like this does more than just add a new name to the history books. It completely changes how we think about the end of a civilization. But maybe the most profound thing, the thing that really gets you, is how it was abandoned. The artifacts weren't just scattered around or broken. They were carefully gathered up and left as this single, deliberate offering. It's like the people just walked away, leaving their most sacred objects behind, as if they were laying their entire culture to rest. So why would a civilization do that? Why just walk away? Well, the leading theory is pretty chilling. It's called the trade pathogen theory. The idea is that European diseases, like smallpox and measles, traveled along the ancient trade routes way faster than the explorers themselves. These plagues could have wiped out up to 95% of the population, causing a societal collapse so total that the survivors simply had no choice but to leave. And that really brings it all together, doesn't it? The old romantic myth tells us about these isolated temples and heroic lone explorers. But the new science? It's revealing sprawling urban centers, complex reasons for their decline, and amazing discoveries driven not by one person, but by advanced technology and huge teams of people working together. And believe me, this story is nowhere near finished. See this number? 1,150 square miles? That is the size of a recently surveyed archaeological dead zone in Mexico. And guess what? Just last year in 2023, LiDAR found another massive, previously unknown Maya city there, a place now called Okamtun. And this is such a key idea to wrap your head around. We see the stone temples because that's all that's left. The jungle acts like a chronological sieve. It preserves stone and pottery, but the massive cities of wood, the palaces and homes where millions of people actually lived, have all rotted away. And that's given us this really distorted picture of the past. What technology like LiDAR is doing, it's showing us that true scale. It's peeling back that canopy. So we're left with this thought. We are literally entering a new golden age of discovery. But as we uncover these lost worlds, the question really changes. It's no longer just what we're going to find, but what we do with that knowledge and whose story we finally choose to tell.